the obsession with genitals. That's what I find with a lot of human beings, especially cisgender human beings. They're obsessed with your genitals if you present as transgender. How do you have sex, you know? So it's yeah. So it's a lot of questions that I always try, and it's important to always preserve the integrity of a human being. Don't reduce a person to sex or what lies between their legs. See the person, receive the person, and work and coexist with the person. So that's the work that I do. So what I've realized and what I've come to learn is that, especially in the trans masculine space, the gatekeepers, if the gatekeepers have had surgery, then transgender men who haven't had surgery are not real men, according to them.
My word.
So it becomes a toxic space as well, you know? There was once a big, it was a brewing sort of undertone in Cape Town, where women who identify as butch lesbian were at war with transgender men, because you are now becoming these people that rape us and violate us and. So I think even within the space, that there's a lot of debriefing that needs to happen. And I think what I always talk about when I talk about this work as well is that we need to get to a point where we see and receive each other as human beings first. Being human has no gender, it has no, and this friend of mine, I've known her for years. I mean, at UCT, she says to me, I'm signing a book, your handwriting is still beautiful. And I'm like, fortunately, handwriting doesn't have gender. My grandmother and I have never spoken about relations and dating, let alone penises and gender. The anxiety hits me just as I finish my explanation. There's a long silence. Is she about to reject me? If out of this entire audience, 1 or 2 people can get helped or healed, then I'm happy.
One of the things that I believe a lot of people don't know in South Africa is that, the Alteration of Sex Description Act was passed in 2003, much earlier than the Civil Unions Act. But despite that, I think we've made a bigger progress with same-sex marriage than we have with transgender issues. So what advice would you give to young people who might not necessarily have the tenacity that you have to constantly be fighting and being in people's face and saying, I know this is my right, I deserve this, I will get this, to say, how do you, withstand the pressure at home affairs where you don't necessarily need to have a medical certificate that says you should be going for surgery, but then your gender marker should be changed?
Young black boys who are forming their identity need to know that there was once a Landa Mabenge who wrote a book called Becoming Him, and they can read that book and actually become who they need to be. So I think it's important for us who know the language, who know the resources to share that information. So that those who are coming behind us don't necessarily have to battle as much as we had to battle.